let's take you to the Accra International Conference Center because the Financial Economic Seminar is ongoing. Let's listen in.
Homegrown enterprises as a cornerstone for building a prosperous, dynamic, and competitive economy. As we look to the future, it is imperative to understand that government interventions are resources meant to be tapped by individual entrepreneurs. While these policies and programs lay the groundwork, it is the efforts of individual entrepreneurs that truly drive economic growth and stability. Entrepreneurs are the catalyst of wealth creation, turning opportunities into thriving enterprises that generate jobs and foster economic growth. So in this context, the entrepreneurial efforts are not just personal pursuits. They are the vehicles for national prosperity. The innovative ideas, resilience, and hard work of entrepreneurs are what transforms resources into sustainable economic growth. By embracing the spirit and utilizing the available support, entrepreneurs can lead the charge in developing economies, driving the stability and growth that our nations need. Ghana has faced numerous challenges in recent years, yet we have rallied together, steadfast in our journey towards macroeconomic stability. This commitment is reflected in our recent achievements: robust economic growth, lower inflation, stronger public finances, and a successful completion of our debt exchange program. These milestones mark significant progress on our path to a more stable and prosperous future. Distinguished participants, the entrepreneurial spirit of Ghanaians is alive and well. With the right policies and support, it will continue to drive economic growth and stability in our developing economy. I encourage all stakeholders, government, private sector, and civil society to work together to nurture and support this vital element of our national progress. Thank you very much, and God bless us all.
Thank you so much, Honorable Abuna Osei Asari. She mentioned that entrepreneurs are a catalyst to wealth creation. As an entrepreneur myself, I'd like to encourage you to heed to her words, not only by listening, but by being active and by supporting local entrepreneurs. How can you support local entrepreneurs? By buying their products. Put money where your mouths are and encourage local entrepreneurs. It's only when you give them money for their hard work that they are encouraged. Thank you for that. Now, when a brilliant woman has been speaking, you need time to digest what she said. You want to break down. Some of you look like you haven't had breakfast this morning. You need time to go over what she has said and break it down and understand it. And so we are introducing a short musical interlude for you to break down everything that Madame Abna has said and be able to understand it better. Thank you so much, Shebre.
If we don't stop them, I wouldn't know what will come next.
Kwame, I was hoping you would join them to dance.
Because when the calico was off, I didn't know what was coming off again. So we need to stop them. There are pastors here, But fellow, I've never seen somebody who uses, say, Ferrari or limousine, and he has misplaced the car key.
Too precious.
Now, I have a car key in my hand. It's Hyundai, so maybe the person can buy another one. So if you're using the Hyundai, you can just pick it up here. I don't know whether the car is so important to you, but it's a Hyundai. Now, we are live on Joy News. We are also live on GTV and several TV stations, and of course, radio stations. And of course, we would like to say a big thank you to Guide Radio 91.5, the Newsday, the New Crusading Guide, the Ghanaian Observer, the Delhi Dispatch, Ghana Gas, GCB Bank, Inquirer, Delhi Guide, and DGN. Fallon, what do we have next?
Thank you for that. We're going to move on to our first speaker, And today, looks like the women are taking the lead. I am going to introduce Professor Atinuke Olusola Adebanji. If you're here with us, you need to applaud me for getting that name right. Professor Atinuke is a professor of statistics at the Department of Statistics and Actuarial Science, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. When I was in Legon, one of the courses I used to run away from was statistics. So you can imagine this woman has a PhD in statistics. Please. With over 20 years experience and her research in theoretical and applied statistics, epidemiology, and biostatistics. She is a member of the Representative Council and Nomination Committee of the International Biometric Society, an elected member of the International Statistical Institute. She was just whispering to me that if she was my statistics teacher, I wouldn't be running away. So, a very excellent woman, ladies and gentlemen. Please give her another round of applause.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the introduction. I appreciate it. Thank you. I don't know the chair, but Madam, I believe you're the chair, so I'm addressing the chair. Can I stand on existing protocol? Thank you so much. So I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm not a business person. So I'm going to speak from the point of view of a statistician. So I did a study, and I want to present the evidence from my study to the audience today, especially concerning this issue of entrepreneurship. My question is it really working for us as a nation? I'm sorry, Sticker, this Sunday, I'm not on your side this morning. So the question we seek to answer is, how do our local entrepreneurs or startups, how do they source for data, and how do they use the available data for their business decisions? So I'm going to focus on what I call, it's not in sync with me. I'm not controlling from here. Yeah. So how do we have a data disconnect? What is a data disconnect? That means that you're not using the available data, or you're using obsolete information in making decisions in your business. So my focus is going to be, are entrepreneurs, are they experiencing a data disconnect, or they are not experiencing a data disconnect in our local space? So we did a study. I'm sorry, the person has to be in sync with me. So we did a study, and this study was to answer these specific questions. So, but the study was a small-scale study, which is an exploratory study, which means that you just want to find out the views or the experiences of entrepreneurs in our space in Ghana. So the study showed, sorry please, this person has to be in sync with me. I'm not controlling from here, but I'm faster than that slide. So the study showed the gender distribution, and we had 39% of them as females and 61% of our respondents as males. And when you look at the age distribution, you find out that about 37% of our respondents were actually very young adults. They were between the ages of 18 and 24. So the bulk of them, which is about 75% of them, were actually under 55. So we have young people who are hardworking in Ghana, who are determined to make something of their lives. But do we have the environment that helps them to achieve what they desire to achieve, or something that brings reward for their efforts? So when you look at the qualifications of the respondents, the bulk of them were either high school holders, which was 35%, and we also had first-degree holders, which was 34%. So the others were spread between no education and postgraduate of vocational training. So when you look at where they operate, are they operating in the virtual space or in the physical space? 69% of them were in the physical space, and you had some of them in the virtual space. And we had about 16% of them which were hybrid. That means they operated in the physical as well and in the virtual space. So when we also looked at the type of businesses, this is basic knowledge, I'm sure you all know, some of you know about this. What we came up with is that most of our business entities that responded to our survey were sole ownership businesses. We actually had 85% of them as sole ownership. So most of them do not engage in partnerships or limited liability entities. And we looked at where do they operate. Most of our respondents, the businesses that responded to our survey, 62% of them are actually traders in goods and services. 18% of them were service providers, and then you had only 16% of them that were in farm and farm produce, that were engaged in food and farm produce. We are not in sync, so it's making me a bit off tune when I look at the screen. Can somebody help so that that person is in sync with me? Can I just go on and then they'll catch up with me? But it's a bit tough when you're saying something else and something else is showing. So the interesting question came when we started asking them, when we asked them, how do you source for funds for your businesses? And this was very interesting because you have about 92% of them source for their business startups from either their personal savings or families. Actually, we have only 56% of them saying it was their personal savings. So that tells us that as parents, your job is not yet done if your child graduates from school. You also have to find money to set them up, more or less. If you look at this, only 1% of them said they got some form of loan. And that form of loan, we don't know if it was their personal collateral or a family member or a friend's collateral that they used to secure that loan. So what it means is that most of them are looking to their personal savings and their families. And how many young people in their 20s really have personal savings? So it tells us that it's mainly the families and friends that have to pool resources to set them up. So when you look at the estimated value of these businesses, we had most of them being valued at less than 100,000. So if you look at businesses at less than 100,000, we also ask them, do you employ people or it's just so you're the only one working? Very few of them can employ anybody. So we're basically looking at self-employment. So I don't know if there's a difference between entrepreneurship and self-employment. So somebody's going to help me amongst the gurus here today, because most of them are simply self-employed. Then we'll further ask them, did you do any feasibility study when you were starting your business? And but 89% of them did not do any feasibility study. Even the Bible says watch and pray. That means even as you're praying, shine your eyes. So that means they were just, I don't know what they were doing, but 89% of them did no feasibility study. And of the 11% that did some form of feasibility study, we further asked them, what kind of study did you do? Some of them said they simply observed. Some learned from their teachers or instructors. Some learned from online research, and others from other business owners. Please move the slide for me. Thank you. And others learned from other business owners. So that means that they don't really do business research before they go into business. So, Pastor, that means they are praying with their eyes closed, isn't it? They should open their eyes when they pray. Yeah. So we further ask them, how many of you have access? Do you have access to relevant market data if you really want to use the data? Then we had 19%, only 19% of them said they had access to business data. So that means that the other percentage of them, 81, do not have any form of access to business data from our survey. And when you looked at the categories of those that had access to business data, we had 13% of them coming from limited liability companies, 38% of them coming from partnerships, and another 17% of them were part of the sole ownerships. So the others did not have any kind of access to business data. Then the next question was, are you aware of any government incentives for your businesses or for businesses or startups in Ghana? So, Madam, you spoke very well about a lot of things government is doing. But I dare to say that they don't even know they're doing all of this much for them. So because only the same 19% people, businesses, said they knew about some government incentives. So the other people had no clue about this much that government was doing to help them. So some of them responded that they know about the GRA tax waivers. Some of them said they know about the reduced company income tax reliefs. And some said they also know about the 5-year tax holiday. But further asked them, have you benefited from any of this? The answer was no. So we then asked specific questions. Now, how do you use data? And the first question we asked them was, for this kind of group of questions, they are supposed to agree with the statement or disagree with the statement. So the first question was, data is readily available for my business industry market share. What business industry you are into, what is the market share of that industry? Only the same 19% that had access to data responded that they either strongly agreed or agreed to that statement. All the others were either neutral or strongly disagreed with that statement. The second question was, data is readily available for the market share. Now, not the market share of the product that I'm into or the service that I provide. And we see that the percentage is still what? 15% that are in agreement. So we have 85% that don't know if there's any data available for them, or clearly disagree that data was available for the product share of the market. Then the next question was about their data literacy. We asked them if they had data literacy or they would know what to do with data about their businesses if they had access to the data. And only 27% said, I know what to do if I have the data. So we have over 73%, even if you give them the data, they don't know what to do with the data. Then the next question was, data helps in better business making for business growth. And of course, 88% of them, almost all of them agree that yes, data is good for making decisions for business growth. But if you give it to a lot of them, they don't even know what they want to do with it. And a lot of them don't have access to data, even if they wanted to use it. And the next question we asked them was, I have business data needs that is yet to be met, that is not yet met. So you see that more than half of them agreed that they have unmet data needs for their businesses. A few of them, some of them disagree, but you see that in the disagreement this time around, you only have about 11% disagreeing with that statement. So that means majority of them are saying that I have unmet business data needs to thrive in the business. Then the next question, that data for predicting product performance is readily available. 13% agreed. So that means 87% were in disagreement. So there is evidence here that the data isn't available for them to make proper decisions or to make market surveys, even if they wanted to do that. Then we further asked them, now we're going into the domain of sustainability. We asked them, the total number of similar businesses, similar to yours, that you know that have collapsed in the last 5 years? How many businesses like yours? And you see that only 2% said they have seen no business like theirs collapse. I don't know, maybe they sell wache because people like me must buy wache all the time. But you see that people who have seen about 1 to 5 similar businesses collapse in the last 5 years are 74% of our respondents. So that means 7 out of 10 of them are saying that I have seen at least 1 to 5 similar businesses like mine collapse in the last 5 years. So even if they thrive or they strive to start the businesses, does it survive? Sustainability becomes an issue. And some people actually have seen more than 15 businesses collapse like theirs, similar to theirs, in the last 5 years. Then we then ask them, do you see your business continuing to operate in the next 5 years? And a lot of them, I believe, they are very optimistic people. You see, yes, we believe it will survive in the next 5 years. 29% are saying, I'm not so sure, which is 3 out of 10. And another 6 there are saying, absolutely not. This business cannot survive in the next 5 years. So we asked them, what are your major challenges in your business space as an entrepreneur? The number one thing that most of them were referring to was access to finance and funding. Another group were talking about the complicated regulatory framework. That's not my domain. I believe the business experts will speak to that later today. Then the technological advancement, they're having challenges to keep pace with the changes in technology. And access to data also came up again. That was the fourth most important thing that they mentioned. And also lack of proper management skills. They admitted themselves that they probably lacked management skills. So they gave some suggestions that access to funding sources would help them better engage in their businesses. And then they mentioned the dollar rate. I'm on the next slide, please. I'm on the next slide, please. Right, thank you. So they also talked about the dollar rate. The sporadic changes in the dollar rate is crippling them because more than 80% of them are actually in the buying and selling business. Then they talked about requests for training. So I don't know if Madam will take this back. They are asking for general training, large-scale training by government to help them to better avail themselves of government support for businesses that are young businesses and startups. They also said that they needed to have more data available for their market surveys and their business decisions. And I have a note here that says that reduce loan interest, and I'm glad Sam is here too. They want the banks to reduce the loan interest, even if it's just 1% of them that went to the bank to get any kind of loan, because I'm sure they don't have the collateral, so I'm sure the banks will not give it to them. So, what did we find out from this survey? And this is my main thrust of my message. On one hand, we are telling them that there are no more vacancies. Don't seek for a job when you go out, when you finish from school. That's what we've told them technically. There are no jobs, so don't bother coming to look for vacancy. Create your own jobs. And on the other hand, we're shouting at them, we want you to be entrepreneurs. We want you to be entrepreneurs. We're canvassing for this. And Madam rightly said, it's a driver for economic growth. But in our space, if you look at these situations and this study, it shows that we're asking them to run a sprint, but we have shackled their feet at the same time with the weight. Because if the system and the space is not conducive for what you're asking them to do, they cannot thrive. And the ball comes back to the parent again and the families. Even if you put your money into it, are they going to thrive? So I want my boss here to speak to this issue when you come up here. What are you going to do to free the feet of our young ones so that they can run in the entrepreneurship space? And this is my team. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And then this is my team here. That's Sandra, she's my colleague. We carried out this survey together. And those guys down there are national service persons who are the guys who went to town to get the data for us. Unfortunately, they're all traveling now because they all leave. My national service person, they all go abroaching. How do I pronounce that? Once they finish national service, they're all gone. They all have their passports and visas and they're ready to leave. And this is sad because in the last 8 years, I was just telling Sam, all my national service persons have left. They don't stay in Ghana. So, and I believe that if we make this space more conducive for them, they will stay in Ghana. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for being a wonderful audience. Sometimes this is what the audience does to a speaker, but thank you for not doing that to me. God bless you all.
I believe you can make it louder. Prof is a familiar face and voice at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. She is the global icon. And another round of applause for our global icon. I still have the key in my hands anyway. I don't think the person needs that car. But I'd like to acknowledge the presence of the Accra Technical University. Are you here? Accra Technical University. Give me a wave. Okay, thank you so much. And Islamic University. Islamic University. And of course, the University of Ghana, Legon. Are you here? I like that. We have the University of Ghana Medical School and the University of Ghana Biomedical and Allied Health Services. We have the Public Health Nursing School and the Accra College of Education. We also have here St. Mary's. I've already acknowledged that. St. Mary's, how you doing? Okay. And then Accra Girls Senior High School, Accra High School, Laboni, and Osu Presec. Now, somebody who traveled all the way from the Gardens de Kumasi, now he is also the general manager for Hello FM and the regional manager for Despite Media, Mr. Samson Kwame Nyamenche, also here. Thank you so much for being here to support the man I'm about to introduce. Now, personally, he's my member of parliament, but he's the man. I brought this not because, hello, okay. I brought this not because I'm also going to give a lecture, but I brought it because the man that I'm dealing with is a man of English language. His overstay in the UK has influenced his English language. And he dazzled the Speaker of Parliament not long ago with a word that I might not attempt to pronounce that word. What is it? You see, the Minister of State is struggling. I will not attempt to do that. But he is a very interesting personality. And he is a financial economist and a member of parliament for the first class residential area in Greater Kumasi in Shiaso constituency. He is a board member of Cocoa Board, Ghana Enterprises Agency, and GCB Bank. In parliament, he is a member of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Finance and Foreign Affairs. He is the former member of the African Parliamentary Union and also a former Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry. He worked with distinction as Chief Executive Officer of the Microfinance and Small Loan Center, Maslog, under the Office of the President of Ghana, where small and medium-sized businesses were capitalized. He holds a doctorate in actuarial science from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, with options of finance, investments, microeconomics, and mathematics. He holds a Master's of Science degree in Strategic Financial Management from the University of Derby in the United Kingdom and has a certificate in entrepreneurship from MIT in the United States of America. He obtained his first degree in computer science from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. He is a product of Opukwari School. He is the current Deputy Minister of Finance, Okatache, Honorable Dr. Stephen Amoah.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My minister, in fact, my senior minister, she's my boss, Minister of State Finance, and my own professor, and my PhD supervisor, Professor Adibanji, my own brother, spiritual father, every friend from our constituency. He was actually sent to Accra. God bless you, sir. CAC boss. And then I think if I have to mention, I'll go on and on and on because of time factor. My brother from GCB, representing the MD. High table attendants. Students, friends, brothers, all protocols observed. It is a big pleasure to be here for the third time, second time, But the third time, the edition, the second one, we had it at UPSA. A big pleasure because I think this is going to go far. It is going to go far because anything that has the hands of God in it has a future. And it's for the good of our society and for the good people of Ghana and those on the continent and even on the globe. So I'm always very happy, particularly when this opportunity arises. But my boss said that I should repronounce the word. And I have to oblige. There's something about me. I'm a strong person, but I respect seniority. The word was flosino sinihili pilification. So, and it's a word. Some of you were not actually updated. You were talking about abracadabra, mambo jambo, higlidi piglidi. No. We have second edition. And I'm sure third edition will come one day. I am speaking on entrepreneurship, a functional element for economic growth and stability of developing economies. But just briefly, why did we set up or started this FES? As part of my PhD, I realized something. In fact, my PhD work actually came as a result of a problem statement that I observed in Ghana, and I'm sure it might be in most of the developing economies, but not in any well-established financial economy or country or developed economy. And after using that, I'm like, okay, why won't I make sure that I develop a system that will propagate this idea? Probably one day it will be taken serious. Thanks be to God, I had to be interviewed whether it was a good topic or not. KNUST, for you to get the opportunity to do PhD in mathematics, finance, actuarial science, statistics, it's not a joke. My professor will tell you. I had to be interviewed twice. And when I got the opportunity, I was very happy. I struggled to come out with a new financial economic formula. Once there was a man called Sharp. The maiden one was done in 1965. Capital asset pricing model, CAPM. Those of you who are into finance, you know that. The second one was arbitrage price theory, that is APT, by a man called Ross. And the third one was done by two people. That was an optimal one. Was by Hanan and Lian. And the fourth one was done, so the first one in the 60s, the second one 64, 76, and in the 90s. And then 1919, thereabout, or in the 19s there, or 90s. Another one was done by Deming. Then I did the 1920, 21st. Actually, I finished in 1920, but there was COVID. So my graduation went into 21st. And I'm summarizing it quick, then I go to mine, so that you know why this thing was giving birth. There is a fundamental financial economic anomaly in Ghana that we are all overlooking. It's got nothing to do with a particular government. And the anomaly is that treasury bills in Ghana most of the times, or many a time, give returns more than the risky assets. So most of you know this simple, is it analogy or whatever it is, or maxim, which states that the higher the risk, the higher expected returns. So when it comes to risk, in investment, risk return, if I'm investing in, say, GCB or EcoBank, and I'm investing in any of you here's company, GCB or EcoBank are likely to give me less returns than yours. The reason is that the probability that you may not be able to pay me is higher than GCB and EcoBank. So we categorize the risk of all the investments. And that's why we have risk averse. I don't want to go into the technical aspect. One of the assets or securities categorized as risk-free all over the world is government assets, including treasury bills. So anywhere in the world, if you invest in any of the banks, in any of the private assets or securities, you are expected to have higher return than returns from treasury bills, because treasury bills are risk-free. So if you go through the models, the formulas that we use to calculate returns on investment or investing in risky assets, all over the world, the country's T-bill rate. So if T-bill give you 10%, because you are taking risk, they will add something to it. So it will be 10 plus 1, 2, 3. But check Ghana here. I have this table. If they can put it on, I'm not going to go through this. The table, I just want the table. Just the table. Yes. If you see the table, I can't read from here, but I picked a few banks. And you realize that T-bills were giving higher returns than the banks, which means the risk-free assets are rather giving more returns, contradicting the entire global standard. And it's one of the reasons most of the banks, we have, I'm sure, a lot of bankers here, they invest their monies in government assets. And because they invest their monies in government assets, which is categorized as risk-free, we have limited amount on the market for private sector. And because the amount is so limited, and the private sector is big and they are demanding for capital, there is always double-digit interest rate. So I call Ghana and other countries as double-digit interest rate economy. I am not doing politics. Don't insult me and say that it's not about NDC and PP. It's a problem with our country. So media, don't go and change this story, because we want to help Ghana. Sometimes when you have good intentions and you want to help your own society, somebody somewhere will change the story and mislead and introduce arbitrariness in the decision-making processes of Ghanaians. And they tend to complain, attack MPP and DC. But we all play part. So what happens is that private sector in Ghana does not, or the companies do not get adequate funds. That's one. The little that they are sharing, the interest rate or the cost is so high. What happens is that they cannot get enough to produce to meet aggregate demand. And because of that, we are forced to import from outside to make room for the needed, or the, I don't know the English to even use here. Is it what? To fill in the gap, if I'm trying to be quite simple. I don't use big words, that's why I'm being careful. And by doing that, because we import to add up, we are always demanding for foreign currency. It's one of the major reasons our currency ritually gets problems. And when I use the word ritual, they change them. They say, oh, I said spiritual. And they use that for TikTok, and people were insulting me. It was interesting. And because of also that, the private sector cannot expand organically to meet the growing population. So we also have unemployment issues. You see, one simple technical fundamental technical anomaly. See what is causing sequentially. And because they cannot also expand to meet the students and the labor force, I mean, whatever it is, we are always having unemployment issues. And because of that, the bank's integration, in my opinion, and per the analysis I did, if you look at the chain, because it has a linear relationship, the bank's integration or the investment aspect, of our GDP, in my opinion, is not giving the right figure. Because the banks are being valued probably higher than they were supposed, because they were not paying what they were supposed to pay. A lot of bankers and others agree, but they say that, it's the government, because of government demands for. It's not high I'm talking about. It's that proportional response. So that if T-bills go even 30%, and I invest in any bank or private sector assets, it should go 30.1 or 30 plus 1. And it's the opposite. So all the formulas from 1965 by Sharp, Ross, Hanan and Lien, Deming were not applicable or good pointers for Ghana. And that was what I came out with. So I developed an enhanced formula, tested. I quite remember one friend from Parliament said that, how can you do a formula? Then I said something, he was off. I'm like, formulas are not like any other, sorry to say, work done, because I don't use somebody's area. It's a formula. If you feed that into your computer and it doesn't run, it's not a formula. So don't think it's something like a joke. All the three formulas that are built on had some shortcomings. One of them did not consider the fact that bank funds, you need to subtract national reserve before what is left for investment. The other one also tried to do that, but did not consider the fact that it's not only for the market, but other risk areas. It did not even consider the premium and stuff like that. So I built a new formula on that. And because I wanted to champion this cause, and one of the areas of my work was that my model made room for conditions that could even enable the banks to know that if I invest 30% of my fund in risky assets, 35 probably in the market, maybe the rest in government funds, and government area even disappoint me or risky assets disappoint me, I'll have enough money to live, to survive as a bank. Because some of the banks had invested over 60% in government assets, bonds and co. So when the holdout came, most of them were suffering because of DDEP, But my formula made room for that adjustment so that you know how to put into proportions your fund so that you are always secured. It goes on and on and on. It's a nice model. I wonder how we'll take it. I've had opportunity to be in 2 other countries in the world. They gave me opportunity, and I made my name there. In fact, our first maiden edition, we have a professor from Switzerland, one from Pakistan. They all came, and some foreigners, some were from Korea, and they came. So out of that, we had FES established in Ghana. Then we had a second one. The third one, we chose entrepreneurship because we feel, just like even in the developed economies, Prof was saying something, it is a fact. Most Ghanaians say that, but I also have the other side of the coin. These days, if you travel, I started traveling before I went to KNUST as a very, far younger than this. These days, if you travel and you bear with me, you see a lot of foreigners to come into Ghana. A lot. I've never seen it before. Particularly white people. So sometimes we think ours is so bad, but others see something in, and they come. The Indians, the Chinese, the Europeans, the Americans, they are coming. If you go to the airport and check. So as much as some of our young people out of curiosity and thinking else, somewhere is better, I don't think it's so. Yes, somewhere is definitely better, and your place is also better than other places. most of the countries, in the 90s when we used to go to UK, you are filling a form and they are asking, do you want to start work tonight? Plenty jobs on one street. Today, they have better jobs than us, more jobs than us, but it's not like it used to be. And we are an import-driven economy. We depend on them. And that is why we think for your future to be better off and contribute your quota to building this country, entrepreneurship is the way out. Where you develop your own ability to create your own businesses so that the congested job space or domain, you not go and add yourself to it and have troubles. And I'll read quickly, very quick, maybe I'll jump because I've explained almost everything. For the sake of the students, entrepreneurship is simply the ability and commitment to creating new viable businesses for profit-making purposes in a competitive environment. Even the economists of the left share a healthy respect for the power of market forces and private initiative. And this was said by Roderick, 207. The left economists' major economic policy is redistributive economic policy. That's socialism. While the right economists adopt property right entrenchment, that is capitalism. So when you have a socialist like NDC and capitalist like MPP, one adopts in economics, they say expansionary fiscal policies, and the other one contractionary. One believes in private sector being engine of growth, the other one believes in no central government. But even now, I believe in pragmatism, where the prevailing challenge should rather necessitate a particular policy. Generally, the world seems to be leveraging the rightist, but the developing economies necessitate social intervention policies at certain times due to predominantly poverty segment along their social stratification. For instance, the New Patriotic Party in Ghana is a capitalistic in nature, but rolls out pro-poor policies, both in kind and cash. However, the National Democratic Congress, Social Democrat, but shows tendencies towards capitalistic economic policies sometimes. So the two parties, they are at the extreme end and they are moving to the center. The capitalists believe largely in, as far I've said, I'll move on. It is becoming increasingly inevitable that the developing economies need to entrench private sector initiative in their public policy frameworks that promote diversification and technological dynamism beyond the capability of the market forces. Entrepreneurship must play a key role in modern economic growth and development, especially in the developing economies in which the public space or domain for employment is heavily congested. Somebody has finished school 10 years, he's still home looking for a job. Time is not on our side. I would have shown you my farms. 2009, I was sacked. I was working at National Health Insurance. I started farming. Then I went to KNUST for part-time lecturing. Then I started consultancy. I started with maize and plantain. And now I have one of the largest palm plantations in Kwahu West, near Nkoko. I have a very large maize farm. I was lecturing, doing this. I'm doing plenty things. Why? Entrepreneurship, the ability and commitment. If I had waiting for white-collar job after being sacked because of politics, I would have been home begging now. So the essence of this program edition is to let you redefine your own individual focus and adopt new paradigm shift in going forward, how you want to fashion out your future. And make sure that entrepreneurship is the option for you now. It doesn't mean don't look for jobs, but it means that there are a lot you can do by yourself and even live better than those who have gotten the opportunity to work or have white-collar jobs. The developing economies are predominantly import-driven economies, indicating clearly that the industry segments of the overall economic chains are mostly occupied by actors from the developed economies. They have cheaper cost of capital, benefit more from economy of scale, better advanced technology, and stronger entrepreneurial ecosystems. The strategic positions of these advanced economies deepen Ghana's unpalatable import positions of these advanced economies, and thereby threatening our import substitution agenda. The way to go, I believe, is entrepreneurship, especially a country such as Ghana that has a wide range of commercially viable raw materials, natural resources, and a large size of labor force with diverse skill component of the labor force. Good doctors, good teachers, good farmers, good lecturers, good engineers, forest, semi-forest, savanna, cocoa, cashew, bauxite, iron, pawpaw, mango, everything. And one of the easiest way, or one of the simplest value chains you can create is from the agricultural sector. Producing juice from mango or orange. It doesn't call for any complex value chain management. So you can easily start something as a young one. And even if you are already having a white-collar job, you can diversify. You can spread your risk. It's so important. God being so good, time resource is the only resource in creation that whether you are poor or rich, young or old, whether you are colossal or dwarf, whether you are from the north, south, central part, is there for you. It's free. You are not taxed, nothing. So you have to use it. The young people, as well as the energetic men and women, should take the available opportunities to create new businesses rather than scrambling or struggling for the limited job space for the growing labor force. Entrepreneurship is an illustrative element of a strong private sector-led economy. What does entrepreneurship do for us as a country or people? Creating new businesses, creating more jobs and employment, enhances purchasing power. Because if you set up your business, you have something in your pocket. Enhances revenue generation for the countries. Once you have a lot of entrepreneurs with a lot of enterprises, pay corporate taxes, we wouldn't be struggling with our fiscal space. Reduces national deficit, strengthens local currency because we will not import as we are importing now. I'm not saying we will not import at all, even America imports, but the level or the extent. Driving the expansion of economic growth creates a healthy balance between the macroeconomic and macro and then micro. A lot of Ghanaians always say, whether it's NDC, MPP in government, they say that, the macroeconomic figures do not reflect in our pocket. I think entrepreneurship is the connection. Because that one, whatever it is your own business. We must trigger our individual entrepreneurial instincts as citizens. We must rebuild and strengthen our weak entrepreneurial ecosystems as a nation. Few people believe seriously anymore that state planning and public investment can act as the driving force of economic development. I personally think Woodrick's assertion derives its emphasis from the developed economies. For the developing economies, such as Ghana, most citizens think otherwise, and that mindset must be changed. Government can come up with all the policies, create all the conducive environment, but our mindset. National policies by all governments, though in different measures, underscore the need to support entrepreneurship. We need to upscale our preference for entrepreneurship through private sector inclined economic policies. The Ghanaian banks should take a second look and extend their credit arms to the Ghanaian entrepreneurs. and try to help them grow from small through medium to large businesses. It will come back to benefit them. Banks generally fund public-related activities and invest in government securities in an inappropriate proportions. Over 60% generally, that's what they do. I stand to be corrected. If risk-free offers a higher return than risky assets, what will drive the appetite of banks? Some of the challenges we are having is very weak entrepreneurial ecosystems. Some days, we need capital, we need capital. If you like pick 100 people here, give them money without interest. After 2 years, 90% the money will go waste. Understanding your own value chain. That's why I agree with Prof. that we need to help create an opportunity for orientation and training for Ghanaian investors and entrepreneurs. So it's not just the capital, because they know how. Performance is the function of three things. 1, ability. 2, opportunity. 3, motivation. So if you don't have the ability and we create the opportunity, you cannot. If you are the best driver and there's no car, you can't drive. If you are the best driver with car and there's no motivation, you cannot upscale your performance. So all relevant stakeholders should come on board. I'm going to end soon because I'm jumping all of them. Then my recommendation, they may not be the best, but I'm sure they will help. Fiscal policy should be private sector entrepreneurship oriented, provoked, or they should provoke entrepreneurial instincts of the citizens. Thanks be to God, our finance ministry just recently launched about 8.2 million commitment fund to support SMEs. My boss, yes, it's 8.2 million. Billion, I say million. Oh, you see, I think I said billion, sorry, thank you. That's why if you have somebody checking you and supervising you is good. 8.2 billion. And this time, the difference is that we are not going to give small monies. We want to give big money so that they can employ other people as entrepreneurs. You have to take the opportunity and the advantage. Even salvation, God says seek. God could have given us free salvation. But even with that, he says seek. With fear and trembling. So for your welfare and your well-being, Proverbs 10:4 says that lazy hands make a man poor, but diligent hands bring wealth. So you can't pray 24/7 and think you will make it. It's not possible. Monetary policy should be calibrated to rather create space for more credit and cheaper cost of credit. Sometimes I disagree, but I wouldn't say I'm right that we need to move monetary policy every time up because inflation is going up. I think we need to look at the cause of the inflation, whether it's demand pull or cost push. If it is cost push and you increase your interest rate, you aggravate the problems. But if it's demand pull, then you can do the otherwise. So I think the central bank and the banks should look at this, because sometimes investors are suffering at your hands or whatever, or some of your decisions. And we need to review Ghana's entrepreneurial ecosystem, strengthen and harmonize the key factors. Capacity building, I've said that. World trade policies needs a review to create the required level playing field. Sometimes it's painful. They can bring, we cannot bring. We cannot send. It's something we need to work on. Tax tariffs and other relevant policies to discourage monopoly and excessive importation. Monopoly, oligopoly, cartel. I have different economic policy on this. I don't think a developing economy, free market economy policy is good for us. I think we should have mixed where if we see healthy competition on the market, we leave the market forces to decide. But where there is oligopoly, monopoly, or cartel, there should be a price cap policy, because Ghanaians are generally profiteering and it affects us. Somebody can make 400% profit. I don't think it's right. It causes distortion and very dysfunctional to the expected equitability. And I don't think that is right. Entrepreneurship should be officially included here. I beg you, Prof. Everybody should help me. My minister, please talk to education minister. It's my dream that one day this country, entrepreneurship will become an official subject for SHS, compulsory, and then it will become optional at the tertiary level. Why? Entrepreneurship. It is a way to go. So I beg, as a country, entrepreneurship should be. It should be a compulsory subject for any SHS student. Sometimes you have pharmacists, doctors, lawyers, they have their own businesses, but they can't manage. No, just some two can really manage it. Not that they are not good. They are good, but because they did not have that training. So entrepreneurship, and I'll push this, I'm going to make a statement in Parliament next sitting, God willing, if I'm alive, and work with the private sector or the whatever government to come out with a bill and make that a law in our country. Technology, I don't have to talk about because I think everybody knows about that. It's very important. And then there should be a well-defined policy boundary factor model to enhance coordination and harmonization for efficiency and effectiveness. Entrepreneurship should be given consideration in state budgets. Thank my minister, I've already said that. Then we cannot forget about green entrepreneurship. The world is going green. Climate change is very important. Climate change is so important. Don't let us joke. Something that we think is not going to affect us. I'm done, but please take this home. Just quick one, you go and read on. Tips for those who are interested. Research and development. As students, use your TikTok and social media space to learn something good and better. Please use that to do research. Research. It will help you. Rather than looking at somebody, you don't get anything from it. Nothing. Insulting. If somebody is using insolent words, that's what you are interested in. Hey, just open something about what you're doing on your area. You want to sell. What do you know about selling? You want to produce. What do you know about producing? You want to be a lawyer, a pharmacist. What do you know? Start doing that. You want scholarship. Recently, I had the opportunity to support somebody for scholarship. I took the person's paper to where they give the scholarship. The person had not applied. I wanted to help somebody to go to law school. The person went to Gimpa. Simple things about Ghana. The person didn't know. Please, it's up to you. One of the things that I find it difficult for Ghanaian entrepreneurs and investors is their inability to understand their own value chains. Before we put up this building, they had a document. They had done research, soil test, everything, design, metals, before they decided to. But sometimes our own businesses, oh, Dubai is good, oh, China, oh, this is a knife. No, that's not the way to go. You'll be in trouble. You need to research, have a data, design your value chain, understand each of the segments. Adiano, how many people are selling on this market? Where do I get it from? Do I have plain fare? How much will it cost me? Do I need one person, two people? Even in my area, there was one of the big banks in Ghana. I'm ending here. That there was a time they sacked their MD. Do you know why? They were differentiation. When I say differentiation, they were top. I mean, a niche for the rich top people. So when the Nigerian banks and the small banks started coming, they were, addressing the needs of the SMEs. So that bank decided to go quickly into that segment. And I saw a big building between Ahojo roundabout and Ahojo. Very big one. And I told one of my friends that I'm shocked. Such international bank. Where they put the building, almost everybody who earns averagely 1,000 cedis a month leaves the place early in the morning to go to a doom. And the person comes back late. So the banking hours, they are not there. Those left were, sorry to say, I'm not heaping scorn on them, but I'm talking about, it's a capital per income, where houseboys and laborers who were earning those days 100 Ghana, 200 Ghana cedis. And they have put up a structure that by observation had to cost them millions. And this friend was working there. After about 6 months, they give the building out. The most important thing in life, when you want to do something, take your time, research, collect your data, analyze your data, design something out of your data. That will even let you analyze the possible risk factors. I want to sell t-shirts. Election time is the time that I need to go to parliament. Honorable 6 mame, honorable 10 mame, oji anadia koma obi. Begin to think, be smart. Without designing your value chain out of your own collected data, research, you'll be in trouble. Risk. And then there are two main risk factors you need to know. Of course, legal implication of whatever you do. You have a friend lawyer, I want to do this, by law, what does it mean? What can happen? Then the person advises you. It's very important. But the risk involved, two. One, systematic risk factors. That one is a bigger. The market is difficult to diversify. It's a big problem. But most of the risk factors we don't talk about as entrepreneurs or prospective or those with the potential, and even a country, is the unsystematic, specific. You go to somebody's company, the security man, front desk, the way they will talk to you, you won't go there again. They are not trained. You go to somebody's car wash. London, I was sacked. Why? I did somebody's car and there was no scratch. A hobo way was a fine scratch and they sacked me. Before you do the car wash, they train you. They give you the rules. Here, I want car wash, then you go into it. We need to do a lot of things different. If you will be a successful entrepreneur, if you will be a successful entrepreneur, or if you have entrepreneur instincts working successfully, I didn't know whether to say entrepreneurial or entrepreneur. That's why, forgive me. These are the expected characteristics of a successful entrepreneur. That is, if you can model and trigger your entrepreneurial instincts correctly. One, you should always plan ahead. You should always plan ahead. Me, I'm thinking about after 60, what will happen? Every time I think about 10 years ahead, then I start working towards that. Advanced organization, you start planning your life. I start saving money. I'm saving money. Honorable, I want to do this business. I have 10,000. I need extra 2,000. Any good honorable, if he has money, he will give you. Unless he doesn't believe that it was God that blessed him or her. Successful employee scouting. That one they make cry for short. She's my friend. He's my friend. He's my son. National meritocracy. Me, it's difficult for me, but I'm telling you, I think Paul said that watch me as you go to God as signboard and not me. Paul said something like that. I'm here. I'm weak here. Meritocracy is a big problem in Ghana. We don't even want to say fano, papa say fano, or political one say fano. We na fanisha ha intimin so de nebeko. For us, so you go to some of the companies, nice girls and boys. Then you need to don't be absentee entrepreneur. Certain standards for time, quality, and ultimate, but attainable goals. When I say next year, I'm going to build ship when you don't have motor. I can't remember there were two young guys. Somebody told you one went to go and steal pawpaw, and the owner was chasing them. They were twins. And then the younger one was saying, God, if this man doesn't get me, I will buy you a car. And then the other ones, but even our daddy doesn't even have motorbike. Or say, me dad nyame, me nyame rap, me dad nyame, men dad cut your coat according to your size. Stay within your capability, and you grow from there because God will help you to grow. Determination. If you don't determine, you are in trouble. If you go to cultural center, our time when we were kids, they had names, spelling bee guys. I'm not bragging. I was one of the top guys in Ashanti region, but I failed exams before. How to write exams? I got sick. I've got a lot of problems. Almost every good lecturer taught me. Aki Ola taught me at home. Aki, there were two, Aki and Ola, different subjects, English. In fact, my English teacher was called Mr. Flint. I think it's the reason that people are saying I speak good English. Whether that is true or not, I don't know. But I determined to go to school, and I never gave up. My mates finished first degree before I started my first degree because I had to go up and down, travel and come. But by the grace of God, if you are taking 10% out of my mates who have PhD, I'm one of them. Efficient and effective office management. Look, efficiency means managing resources well. Effective means getting the results you want. You can get the results and you run at loss because you are not being efficient. And then regular stakeholder meetings. How many times do you meet your staff? If you are friends and you put money together, how many times do you meet? The last thing I want you to know, that if you are here and you want to do business or go into new business, create your own businesses as entrepreneur, about 4 ways you can get money. 1, maybe you have money sitting somewhere. Maybe you go to where they can lend you money if you qualify. Maybe you bring your friends together and set up businesses. Maybe you get grant or funds from probably outlaid funds or monies by the government. So you need to understand all this. If you go and borrow and you are not paid, you are in trouble. You will pay with interest. If you put your money together to start businesses, you don't have any problem. If it goes on well, you share. If it collapses, you have no problem. The world today is redefining its economic policy focus by introducing new paradigm shift for the changing environment, increasing population, increasing fiscal risk, and climate change, among other factors. It is accordingly imperative to begin a new wave of entrepreneurship advocacy that will change the focus of young population struggling for the rationed employment space. Ghanaian youth and the job-searching class should get involved in the entrepreneurship revolution agenda. The system must be tailored by the relevant stakeholders and policymakers to create the needed opportunity and support for those who want to create new businesses. And then by doing that, we can grow our economy. And also to those who want to expand their businesses. It's good that you told me that I'm ending. To attain our long-term economic growth and stability as a country, the way to go now is entrepreneurship. And how to start it is you. What you want to use your resource for. I have this saying that the usefulness or otherwise of any resource or opportunity in the world lies in the discretionary decision-making process of the beholder. Knife can be used to kill. Knife can be used to prepare food. This thing can give me shelter and I'll live. This thing can take me to jail. You can use your time from here. Every day, honeysuckle. No problem. One day you see. Or you take all that we've learned, you go and research, and you start something. After school, what do you do? Vacation, what do you do? You've been looking for a job for plenty times. You don't get, what do you do? The usefulness or otherwise of time resource lies in the discretionary decision of you as a beholder. Thank you very much. God bless you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Honorable Deputy Minister of Finance, Dr. Stephen Amoah. I believe he deserves another round of applause.